All right, so we are live, folks. And if you can give us a moment, this is our episode 16. It's called The Black Woman Problem in America, Politics and Power, Politics, and Protection. So, if you bear with us, we have 5 minutes until showtime. So, we're going to um, try to get some folks on through Facebook and YouTube. So let's see what we have here. We are. Don't know why I don't get what I'm looking for. Who's live? Okay. Let's see if I can pull that in. Go to my live. Okay. Share. Copy. I got a copy. Ta-da, ta-da. I am there.
All right, so I am live.
You're live on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to get there, I think. Let's see, go to Jeanette Bradley. You did you tag me?
Let me tag you.
No, you did. You're on my.
I did.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing, but you are one skilled woman.
I don't know what I'm doing either, but I
You
did tag. I did tag some people this time because I've been trying to.
you got it together.
Like this with it.
So I got to make sure we're on We Are Black Independent, and I will put it there. Command V. Da-da-da-da. Next. Post. Okay. Looks like we're live in 1, 2, 3, 4 places.
Perfect.
Yeah. Let me make sure I'm with StreamYard. Episode new. Hold on. I'm hoping that I didn't. Nope, I'm still there. Back. StreamYard. We got 1 minute. Go to here. That's weird. I don't see my StreamYard, my second one. Let's go back in. Enter the studio. think I'm on here more than I need to be. Leave. Huh. You look like you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Let's see. Save. I had too many things open. There we go. All right. All right, folks, we are ready to go. So here we are.
To the Black Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Focus is not on what Donald Trump is doing to me. I am lawyered up. My focus is on the countless number of women, particularly Black women and immigrants, who fall in my arms crying because they're concerned that they might be disappeared at night. They might be kidnapped at night, that their families might be separated at night, that they've lost their jobs. The vast majority of federal employees who lost their jobs look like me.
Yes.
And as a result of that, you are seeing high foreclosure rates in Virginia, in Maryland, in DC. What we are seeing is a loss of economic power and wealth in communities of color, and the greatest transfer of wealth ever. And so it's important that individuals understand that what he did today in DC and all that he is doing against me is nothing more than a distraction. Release the goddamn, the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files.
Yes.
We want to know who was responsible for victimizing all of those young girls who were raped, who were assaulted, who were victimized. We will not be distracted by your pettiness. I'm going to continue to do what I do. I'm going to continue to use the law both as a sword and as a shield. We have filed collectively over 30 lawsuits, and we are winning. The last Trump administration, we filed over 100 lawsuits, and we won 80% of our cases. They're much smarter now. They're much more smarter now, and he's got more evil people around him. But at the end of the day, evil will not win.
Yes. Love it. Jeanette, you're on mute. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. You're on mute. And I can't unmute you. There you go. Yeah, I can't unmute you. Go down to your picture. Go down to your picture. And where you see the mic, you can unmute from there. Pull out your cord. Nope. All right. While she's figuring out how to unmute herself, guys, this is our 16th episode, so it's always hit or miss. And she do all of the heavy lifting. So what I'm going to say, welcome to our 16th episode. Check out our new shirts. We have our mud. Like us on Facebook, YouTube, subscribe. Of course, we're trying to get 500 subscribers on YouTube. So please like and share. Let's give her a few more minutes because we did something different when we played the Attorney General. Let's see. When we did the
Testing 1, 2, 3.
All right.
If you ask me what I did, 1 second though.
Yeah, because you have a little echo.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Better.
Still?
Nope,
Okay.
better.
Wow. If you asked me what happened or what I did, I couldn't tell you. I
I
could
know.
not tell you.
I told her we was doing something different when we played the Attorney General, so that could have had something to do with it. But I do appreciate hearing her voice.
Yeah, we are
And
learning
it ties
on the
into
job,
what we're going to
folks.
talk about tonight.
We are learning on the job, but welcome back to the Black Independent. This is episode 16, as Mona mentioned, the Black woman problem in America. Can you imagine that? The Black woman problem in America. That's the title of our show tonight. Power, politics, and protection. So I'm Jeanette, as she mentioned, and here with me is my co-host, Mona. Thanks, Mona, for pitch hitting while I was trying to get the technology going.
Absolutely.
So tonight we're tackling a question that goes all the way back to W.E.B. Du Bois, who asked just decades ago, what does it feel like to be a problem? And he was asking that of Black people who were seen by at least the white establishment as a problem in America. But in today's America, that question is aimed squarely at Black women. It just seems like we've become the problem. And you're seeing that in a lot of what's happening in the workforce and in just the generally in our daily lives. So from Congress to the courts, from newsrooms to neighborhoods, Black women are carrying this country forward and yet face some of the harshest attacks. So we're going to unpack that and talk about what independence looks like moving forward in this uncertain time.
And boy, it's an uncertain. But before we dive deep, let's ground ourselves in history. I did a little research. Science tells us that every human alive today shares the mtDNA with, and I have a hard time pronouncing
Are you talking about mitochondrial Eve?
mitochondrial Eve.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Wow. So I only did a little research into it, but I asked myself, why didn't we learn this in school?
Yeah.
And so, listen, Mitochondrial Eve is an African American woman. That means the root of all humanity in itself, is tied to a Black woman. So when we talk
Wow.
about the strength, the resilience, and leaderships of Black women, we're really talking about the origin of us all. How
Wow.
amazing. We're going to have to dive deeper into this.
Right. So we're just touching on it. And thank you so much for bringing that up, Mona. But mitochondrial Eve is something that I never heard of until I was in college, actually in grad school. And I've been going to school for a very, very long time. And it's a wonder how all mankind, Black, white, and indifferent, comes through an African woman, which is being deemed as mitochondrial Eve. So we won't get into specifics tonight, but that is something certainly, if you're interested, you should Google it, but we will have a show that's speaking to that directly, because I think that's important for us to know.
Yes.
So we're here tonight because we've seen a wave of attacks directed specifically at Black women. Think about Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, Jasmine Crockett, Letitia James, who you saw in the intro, Fannie Willis and Ketanji Brown Jackson. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a pattern meant to undermine legitimacy, erase accomplishments, and chip away at our confidence.
Exactly. And what is wild is statistics tells us Black women are the most educated group in America. Imagine that. Yet they carry the high student loans, debt. And we know that is why Trump administration is moving against loan forgiveness. Now, I can also say that Biden should have been a little bit more forceful and pushed a little bit more harder as well. But we know it's aren't just about the policy. They hit Black women squarely, threatening future access to education and economic independence.
And I'm telling you, that threat is very real, and they're being very, very intentional about what programs to eliminate or make more difficult, because they need to curve that trajectory that I think Black women and men, but right now, Black women have had in the past, I would say 50 years. So there's a cultural piece as well. So we see the angry Black woman trope and the dismissal of Michelle Obama's brilliance, or attempts to label Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson as a DEI hire, instead of recognizing her qualifications. That's not accidental. It's about keeping Black women in a box. That right now is a big force of this administration.
Yes. And even people outside of the administration, when I think about a certain person, and I said I was going to probably not call a non-educated person talking about our Black leaders. Imagine that.
I'm telling you, they don't care.
No, and they know that it's a lie. They know it's an untruth. So I want to bring in women's like Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Fannie Lou Hamer, and Ida B. Wells, all well known into this. Okay, these women set the standards. Harriet leaving enslaved people to freedom. Sojourner Truth declaring, "Ain't I'm a woman too." Ida B. Wells fearless reporting on lynching. They show courage in the face of unthinkable danger. Do you
Yeah,
think?
and but think about it, behind the big names of the civil rights activists, Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, there
Mm,
were Black women organizing, strategizing, feeding the people, making the marches possible. They don't always get the spotlight, but the movements would not have existed without Black women supporting their men.
right, and that's what we call the continuity from Tubman to Truth and Ida B. Wells to women's like what Coretta Scott King, Betty Shabazz, Fannie Lou Hamer, right through to Michelle Obama, Jasmine Crockett, Letitia James, and other unsung sheroes today.
I like
The
that, Sheroes.
sheroes. And you know, the thread is survival, and we have survived. And I believe they don't understand how or why. Leadership and our vision for our community.
Yeah, but it's kind of like I was watching the championships. I don't know. I watched track and field, but I didn't watch the actual meet. I just looked for various races on YouTube.
Mhm.
And one of my favorites is, of course, the 4x1 and then the 4x4 relays. And it's the passing of the baton. And the United States, all black on the 4x4, male and female, all black on the 4x1. And it's the best baton passing I've seen them do in years, because that's really critical in
Yes.
terms of getting that baton. That person's coming in as fast as they can and they're really tired. The person that's leaving is just ready to go, ready to go, ready to go. But they have to coordinate that just right to get that baton in that hand so that the person has every advantage to move forward. But
It's
think
a
about
smooth
that.
transition.
That's what we're talking about with these women that we've talked about. When we talk about Harriet Tubman, when we talk about Sojourner Truth, and when we talk about all the way through to Michelle Obama, but then we're talking about Jasmine Crockett, and so we've got to be able to pass the baton. And what's key is knowing when to pass the baton and getting it right, just right.
That's the word. Knowing when to let go, when to pass the baton.
Exactly.
Sometimes it seems like we hold on too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to work on that in our community.
Right. But
But you know, for the most part, I think we're doing great. I think we're doing good with all odds stacked against us. I
Mhm.
think we as a whole are doing. I was having this conversation with my brother last night, actually,
Mhm.
and he said from where we started, from the 40s, 50s, 60s to now, we are doing great. Now, can we be doing better? Yes, of course, but we are making progress. Now, it is small. They are trying to reverse it, but we are and we will because of those Harriet Tubman. That is in our DNA. We will
It is.
move forward.
It is. It is. So I thought about something one day and I put it on Facebook and I said, just like our hair, we
Mhm.
defy gravity. You cannot keep us down. And that was my whole point of that. It is, I love how Black women are embracing their hair in the last, I guess, 3 decades.
Mhm.
And just like our hair, which is up, we just defy gravity. You can't say it any clearer than that. And I think we just have to appreciate the fact that while things look really difficult and it seems like the cards are stacked against us, well, we're going into that final leg of the race. And what we need to do, baby boomers in particular, is to get ready to pass that baton and allow our young women to just take it all the way home. I I'm looking at how hard it had to have been for Harriet Tubman and
Sure,
how dangerous and how
sure,
fierce she had to be,
sure.
and then how hard it had to be even for how hard it is right now for even the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, because they are attacking her left and right, right?
I remember, I don't know if it was my grandmother or someone said this, that fear is a natural
Ooh,
reaction.
yeah,
But we could be fearful, but we can't be paralyzed, can't stand still. You still have to move forward with the fear. And once you do the thing, the fear disappeared. Now you don't know when it disappeared because when you feel, I think it was, I'm sure it was my grandmother. I used to hate to do Easter programs in church,
mm-hmm.
even though I know it, and the speech, and she used to say, yeah, you're gonna feel it. She says, but at some point, the butterfly is gonna fly away, and you're
Yeah,
not. Well, I will be able to tell when it flies away,
right,
and
right.
and I imagine that was with our people. But I want to come back to this: how we have had to fight for the simplest things.
Yeah.
How white men want to dictate how we wear our freaking hair,
Right.
and I said I'm gonna try not to curse tonight, okay? I don't, but I
Feel
don't, no,
free. Do
I don't care.
do
No,
do
if I want,
you.
I
Do
got, God
you.
damn it, that's what I just thought because
Yeah,
I
I
just
was
said
like,
it to
just do
myself, and
you.
I just said why? Because I see nothing wrong with cursing. But they're telling us how we should, and we're the original people. And they telling us, dictating
Ooh,
to us. And some of us was even falling in line, buying into it, that we needed to wear our hair a certain way. Our boys could not wear their locks, their dreads, but they get to wear pink, purple, and whatever in their head, in their
right.
hair, and it's okay. And that's
Yeah.
some scary shit to me.
So you said something that I think is really significant. We are the original people. And they had to have known that for 4,500, 5,000 years ago when they discovered us over there in Africa with the
Sure.
pyramids and the Egyptian pyramids and the
Mhm.
science and whatever else. And we then allowed them to come among us. And over the course of 4,500 years, um, they swindled us. I'm just going to say that,
Yeah,
out of our natural birthright.
yeah.
But they can't keep us down. Back to the whole hair analogy and the gravity. They
Mhm.
can't keep us down throughout history. And we're only now digging that up and discovering it and sharing it. The inventions that we have been responsible for over time that birthed other things, but it couldn't have happened. Like even Edison, what is it?
The
Well,
likes,
Edison, because
yeah.
I'm at the school all the time. The filament that's in the light bulb
Yeah.
was invented by a
Why
black
black?
brother, Latimer, I think it was.
And you know
So
what? I think
we
I just
were,
learned that maybe doing Black History 2 years ago.
mhm. But you should have learned that in
We learned
elementary
that in
school,
school.
right?
Absolutely.
Well, they're
Absolutely.
learning it now in elementary school. But if you think about it, they saw our brilliance from the beginning. That's why they went to Africa to get black slaves, not just
Mhm.
for the brawn, but also for the brain, because they saw how we were growing rice and crops over there, and they couldn't do it here. And that's another story in terms of what they did with the Indians, what they
Mhm.
did with the indentured servants. Neither of those worked to their satisfaction. So they had to go to Africa and get us because we had the brawn and we had the brains. But when they got us over here, because we didn't have the language, we didn't know the terrain, we did not know the lay of the land, they had us captured, right? And so they took advantage of the fact that you had these very smart people. You know how, and this is in a book called Seed Folk Kids, that it's the basis for my nonprofit. But
Mhm.
you know how when a foreign person who does not speak English comes to the country
Sure.
and they try to go amongst the community and they don't know the language, so they cannot communicate.
Mhm.
And for us, we see this quite frequently where the child has to
And to
speak
the speak.
to
Yes.
the teacher for the parent,
Yes.
right? It's like, and the book says this, it's like the parent becomes the child.
Yes.
which is what happened to Black people. Africans, when they came to this country, they intentionally made it so that we were not able to, we couldn't speak the language. They didn't want us to have our own names. They totally took very brilliant people and made it so that they could not function, that they became children here on this land.
Yes.
And we need to understand that
And, and listen, and every time I think back at it with the Indians and us, that we are people who have a soul, a heart, because those people came to conquer, steal, and destroy and kill.
all of the above.
And we just, I don't know how we didn't give it back to them. Because if the Indians didn't help them survive, they couldn't have never survived here.
It's true. And then they took advantage of that.
And they
of
took
the
advantage
Indians.
of it. They took advantage of it, slaughtered them.
Right.
Just wow. And we're gonna probably start doing some episodes on history, American history.
I think we need to do
From
episodes on African American history that connects us to the motherland, what was going on there before we got onto these shores.
Mhm.
There's a reason, like I said, that they came to get us. There's a reason for that. And then when we got here, they had to make sure that we were not colluding, because there were different languages from different tribes.
Sure.
So that made it difficult to communicate. And then they were forcing us to learn their language, or the King's English, as I guess we say these days. But I just think we just need to slow down and stop listening to other people and begin listening to ourselves and
Yes.
doing the studies. You know, I totally wish we had our own schools, because
Oh, yeah.
I think my if I had to guess 10 years from now, you likely will see that.
Mhm.
You will
Or,
likely
you
see
know,
that.
Saturday workshops, teaching our
Well,
children.
that can happen sooner, but I think that at some point,
Particularly in these churches, we could use
yeah.
the church. Because one of my neighbors, do you know all Jewish kids before, I forget, I don't know if it's 12 or 13,
I think it's 13.
have to learn, if they don't go to a Jewish school, they have to learn their Jewish culture before they take whatever that next step.
Yeah. They have this celebration too, some kind of.
Yes. And I mean, it's from, I think, from the time they're in kindergarten, I can't remember, but all the way up to what you said, 13.
Yeah, I think it's about that. But
Mhm.
yeah, they have their mess together.
And they were doing this on the weekend. And I
Yeah.
was like, wow. I at that time when I heard about it, one of my daughter's friends was in school, and that's how I knew about it.
Mhm.
But you know, look, I thought that was great. Yes, teach your children your culture. They should know it.
Yeah, but all of the other races focus on their cultures. I don't
Yes.
know too much about the Hispanic, but the Asians do. Definitely the Indians do. And I think because of the reservation, what have you. And then you, of course, have, as you said, the Jewish. They focus on teaching their culture and the memories, but our memories were wiped out.
Yes.
And
And
what
there's-
little we could
there's-
hold on
there's-
to, we did.
There's
We
as
made-
much too, but we have to make sure that we're teaching it, because the Jewish people aren't leaving it up to Europeans to do it.
I know, but they are teaching from the homeland. We are teaching from what we were able to make up. And I said make up, but what we were able to create here with
Yes.
all of the different tribes coming together, surviving here in this country. So that's why when Black immigrants come and they see our food, and then they look at their food and they're like, our food is better, healthier. Well, probably that's true.
Mhm.
But our food tastes pretty darn good because we created this thing that has permeated into the larger society. Fried
Right,
chicken, where did that
right,
come from?
right.
Colonel Sanders ain't got nothing on where ain't got nothing on the black woman in the kitchen with
And
some grease
and whatever he did get, he got it from us.
and he got it from us, and that's going to be true in so
He
many
he got
ways.
it from us. Yes.
And we just need to just slow down and understand where we came from, and then look around and say that comes from us. That
Mhm,
comes from us,
mhm.
because so much of what has occurred in this country comes out of the brains and the brawn of Black people. And we
Yes.
need to be proud of that. And I think we need to start talking about it. But I want to pause here and call out something recent and painful. And it's the reason that we're kind of talking about Black women tonight. So Charlie Kirk went after Joy Reid, Michelle Obama, Justice Jackson, and Sheila Jackson Lee. He said they didn't have the brain processing power to be taken seriously. He's claiming that they stole a white person's slot, and that's that whole great replacement theory that white people, especially white supremacists, talk about a lot. So those words aren't just insults. They highlight what Black women face every single day, having to prove themselves over and over, even when their records are impeccable. Ketanji Brown Jackson, if you put her record, her education, her experience against any of those other justices, she is the most qualified entering that position. And that would have been true of Kamala Harris as president. She would have been coming into the role as one of the most qualified ever walking into the role, because that's what Black women do, right?
Sure.
But they highlight what Black women face every day, having to prove themselves over and over, even when their records are impeccable. As much as it hurts, it forces attention on this issue, the fact that Black women's power is constantly under attack.
Look, and we know why those remarks they're designed to delegitimize our power, and they have to do that. When I
They
look
have
at
to.
when I look at Vice President Harris, and I hear what Kirk said about her,
Mm-hmm.
and they will put the First Lady, what's her name? Donald
The
Trump's
First
wife.
Lady, Melania Trump.
Oh shit! I see. That's the hot insignificant. The woman's name. Yes,
Melania.
Melania Trump,
Melania.
and said that she was a professional model. Those was professional. This woman was. I don't know what to call her.
She can't hold a candle to
She
Naomi
can't hold a candle to
Candle,
nobody.
Campbell, rather.
Nobody in our community, hardly nobody in their community. But they will they rather live a lie. And 20 years from now, they will have gotten rid of all those photos, gotten rid of everything. And basically, if we really believe what's coming out in the Epstein files, hey, they say Trump met her through
Yes. Yep. Jeff
yeah,
Epstein introduced
yeah.
them.
That means she was
Right.
one of those girls that was trifling.
Hello. Is everybody paying attention to what she just said?
And so I'm like, you people love to live. It is who they are, a lie.
But they don't
And
want to believe that. You see it, we see it, but they do not want to see what you just said. So they deny, and they don't want to connect the dots, because that would tell them something about their decision making if they voted for him, and it tells them something about themselves and what they've believed about themselves since this country started.
it would be okay if we get the lower population that voted for him who might believe this stuff. But when you got somewhat supposed to be intelligent people who believe this BS and think we're supposed to believe it,
Yeah.
you gotta be freaking kid, or to accept it because they know what the truth is.
There
They're
you go.
just willing
That's
to
what I
accept it.
think. I
Yes,
think they know, but it's
Of course they know.
also about it's about the economics of the situation.
Yeah.
How can I make money off
Mhm,
of this lie? Because
mhm,
this country makes money off of lying. And those who are smart enough to think about it to say, I know this is a bunch of crap,
mhm.
but I can see where I can make money and
Sure.
I can protect my family, or I can me. It's never really about community, which is a black concept when it comes to it's about community, and we kind of look at that whole individualism, which is a white concept. And there's no way that this country could survive if it were not for somebody or some group that paid attention to the well-being of the community and not just individuals. And it's always that push, that tug back and forth.
Sure, sure. I think it's they need to have their children, the people, make those people think. Maybe people like Michelle Obama, Jackson, all of them, that they don't really belong, that they are only here because of DEI. But the
Yeah.
people who are there, they know the truth. And we also know better, right? We also know that these women are overly qualified,
Right.
that they
Right.
don't, that they have done the work,
Yeah.
and they know they've done the work. And when you have this little guy who didn't even go to college, well, I think he was in a junior college for a month, I believe they said, and dropped out
Many.
because
Right.
he was just an average middle class kid. He
Yep.
was supposed to go to I think the Navy Academy, and didn't get picked.
Yeah.
So his
You know more than I do on that.
yeah,
On
I mean, I really do know about him. I've been following him um, from the time they came to Tampa, and I believe that was in 2013.
Yeah.
And when I started really just hearing a little about him, but just a snotty low nose little white boy. Okay.
So he left and he created left junior college, created Turning Point USA, and
Like he
began.
didn't create he yes, he didn't create it. The power
Okay,
he let's say he did, but it would have never been this way without the billionaires.
that's correct. So he created it,
Yes.
and he started getting a following, and the billionaires latched onto it
Mhm.
because it was a pretty good idea.
Well, look, they needed a younger face
They
because at
needed
that
young
time,
people. That's correct.
I was listening. I like talk radio. I'm not really big into music, so I used to listen to 970, right? And Rush Limbaugh was on,
Oh my
and
God,
I know.
that's a headache. How in
I
the world
But
could
you know
you?
what? Listen, in the 80s, in
Mm-mm.
the 90s, he
He
wasn't
gave.
he wasn't as bad. He was
Yes,
just
he's
a
always
con-
been bad. I'm sorry.
but
No,
it's when Obama, because I'm telling you, I listened to those stations, right? But they lost their mind.
I got to give you
And
the
they got a
side eye,
brilliant
girl.
white man, and
You get the
I
side eye. Oh
I
my
saw it
God.
from I could see it from the time when Obama got there, and the Tea Party and Rush. I used to say, "Oh, he's gonna blow a fuse." Okay, he would get so mad, and most of the times I couldn't listen to it if my daughter was in the car because he was just over the top. So
Yeah.
I was either listening to it after I dropped her off at school, on my way going to pick her up from school. But that is what I really listened to, Glenn Beck, all those people.
Oh
And,
God, those are
and
names from the past.
yes,
They're horrible.
Dr.
They
Laura.
were
But
horrible.
listen, I'm telling you,
I did not even like her. No,
in the
no.
80s, in the 80s, they was not that bad, Jeanette.
Well, yes, they were. And
They
yes, I
were,
was paying attention in the 80s. And
they were, see, I've always been, a moderate conservative, okay? And I'm telling you, I tolerated them. But it is when I said, when Obama got in, and pretty much, now they were beaten up on, I would be fair.
Mm-hmm.
They were beating up on Clinton, okay, and his wife. They would beat up on him all the time. Yes,
Yeah,
and
I cannot
I
sit
guess
through
I
stuff
didn't
like
really.
that.
I don't know. I guess I really didn't. It didn't affect me as well when they were doing it, because if you go back and look to some of the shows, and particularly when that sex scandal came out with
Mm-hmm.
Clinton, they went in on him really really hard, and they went in on Bush as well though.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long I've been looking at him. But when Obama, it was a whole different level when Obama became.
Yeah, they went. Excuse
Yes,
me, I'm gonna
they
be
went,
you for a minute. They went batshit crazy.
they went batshit crazy. They lost their freaking minds. They
Right.
lost their freaking. I can remember when um I think it was Glenn Beck was, and two, they know hate sells. And I'm just realizing how much
Absolutely,
hate sells right now, right? Because
it
I
does.
think it was Ben um
Shapiro.
no, Glenn Beck.
Oh, Glenn
He
Beck.
used to be
Okay.
on Fox, and then he left Fox and he was on the radio. Then he
Right.
went, and then he started his own station. But they used to sell these survival kits. They were selling these survival kits,
Mhm.
convincing poor white people. And it's just what the president said. Well, as long as we could convince poor white people that they're better than the best black person, we'll be
Right.
okay. We
That
could be
was
able to do
LBJ.
anything.
That was Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Johnson, yes. And,
Absolutely.
and that's and I saw that happen in real time, telling these people to stack up all this food, stack up, and and this man was a multimillionaire, and you would have redneck calling in from Virginia, from
Mhm.
anywhere, and they
Mhm.
didn't care. They were pooling their money together to
Uh-huh.
buy this stuff. Some people want to do underground um, places where they could be safe. And I was like, well, these people are crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I was a little crazy too, because I stayed with that channel for a little too long.
I will say that when Fox News first started, I did watch them. But that was like maybe a year or so.
Hmm.
Because there's Greta something.
Greta, yes, she was actually good.
I used to watch her and I
And
was like,
I used to
I
like
was
Bill
disappointed
O'Reilly.
that, huh?
I used to like Bill O'Reilly when he first started.
Yeah, I remember all of them, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm not even going to talk about the fact that you were watching them, especially Rush Limbaugh when he was at his craziest. But so,
And well, I'll just tie Rush and Charlie Kirk in, because you remember when Rush died, and it just
yeah,
when
that was a big deal. He got
it was a big deal. Well, they're gonna put him in heaven, and they're gonna do all this stuff, and
he got the
but,
Freedom Award even.
yes,
Crazy.
yes, yes, and they felt so sorry when I think he had cancer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and you know, it's the same thing with this guy, but like Rush, this guy's different, and I think what the problem is, they don't want to admit that you guys have this white on white crime, because it was a white guy. I don't care if he's from the left or the right. It was a white guy that came from a right wing family.
Hmm.
These people, they were Christian nationalists.
Yeah.
So um, we could ask ourselves, came from a two-parent household, what was that goddamn father doing in that house? How did he let his son go down that rabbit hole?
Mm.
Why aren't white America ready to throw, like Kirk said, we need to start having public hanging or public killing? Why aren't they ready to do that to that family? Because
Right.
that family killed their beloved,
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah.
And
I think it's,
he wasn't even on 80% of our radar. So
I don't, yeah, he wasn't on anybody's radar.
nah. Not in the Black community.
So I'm not commenting necessarily because I think that this is bigger than we know,
Oh,
and that the tentacles that are in this issue, given where Charlie Kirk was going in the last couple months,
Mhm.
and it's documented that he was moving away from Israel, and he was insisting upon he didn't agree with the Iran bombings, and he was insisting upon the release of the Epstein files.
Mhm.
And then bang, he's gone.
And he
With-
kept saying,
with the shooter that was so sharp that I look at that kid and I'm like, that doesn't
know.
match. What I saw on TV does not match this boy with all those other people around, you know? So it's kind of like, yeah, I don't talk too much about the young man, and he might have been a second decoy so that the real shooter got away.
well, we need to
you
talk
know,
about it, because if the family's going to let him be a sacrifice lamb to their
Well,
whoever.
if there's enough money, I'm telling you, there's so much money.
They just sell
there-
their whole goddamn soul.
there-
I'm not selling my baby for.
There's
How
so much money out there, and you are comparing them to you. Don't do it.
And I know it's no comparison.
Don't do it. It's like-
We're gonna have to show a show of Dr. Ray Higgins. It's a Black guy, so I like to I follow him, and he
Mhm.
talks about the soul, the heart, and all of this,
Yeah.
and where we at, and we are centered in all of that goodness. That's just the
Yeah.
bottom line.
But you know, if we could just take it back to the Black woman, you know, America really doesn't know how to deal with Black women who rise above the obstacles, and we're always rising, always. And even when they try to, you know, knock us down, we still, as Angela Mayo says, what do? We still I rise.
So we
So
rise.
instead of embracing that Black women are a problem, and instead of embracing the fact that we rise constantly, they try to keep us down. And it's not just about public perception. It's about, you know, we see it in the paychecks. I don't know if you paid attention to it. I'm an HR professional by trade. And so Black women, did you know we only make 64 cents on the dollar of a white man's paycheck? 64 cents. We could be doing the same job, same experience. He's going to make $1. You're going to, Black woman, with all of that experience, it's going to make 64 cents. That's how it has been forever.
Yeah.
So that gap is a direct reflection of how society values or devalues Black women. Because when we look at white women, white woman makes $1, the Black woman's going to make 82 cents. With all of that education and all of that experience, the Black woman is going to make 86 cents on the white woman's dollar.
Now, are you saying all things are equal? I hadn't heard that data like that.
All things are not equal. It has never been equal.
No, I'm saying if the white woman is making, so say they both have the same degree, the same resume, and if she's making $1, the Black woman's going to make 82 cents.
82 cents. That's right.
I'm saying for that, all things are equal.
Yes. But even
Interesting.
if all things aren't equal, so if you look at the average salary of Black women and you look at the average salary of white women, right? Just looking at the averages, where are those averages going to fall? 82 cents for Black women and $1, let's say for it's going to have that gap that between the two, that white women, they are paying them more than they are Black women. And that's, and I think that's something that people don't really pay attention to, but HR professional, I get to see all of that stuff. It happens, folks. It
So
happens.
people don't know. Okay, so like when you're applying for a job, you don't they don't have. Of course, I've never had a job outside. I've always worked for my mom. Look, so say I'm applying for a job, and they say
Mhm.
this is the salary.
Yep.
Well, how could they do that if this is the salary? How can they make the salary lower for one person or higher for someone else?
Because they have a range that they can choose,
Oh,
right?
so the
Based on your
salary is a range.
experience.
It's not a set thing.
Salary range, and the salary is going to be based on your experience mainly, because if everybody comes in, then they have to have a bachelor's degree, but everybody's coming in. But if somebody has more experience, they are likely going to make more. But that is a subjective.
Yeah, I never like
um,
anything like that when it's left up to the individual. I don't like
Well,
that.
it is,
I've never liked
deciding that is subjective, and in mainly in government jobs, it's harder to get away with that.
that.
But we're talking in private. Oh man, it's ridiculous. It's
Mm,
really bad. So the gap is a direct reflection of how society values or devalues Black women, their labor and their worth. It doesn't matter what the education is. It doesn't matter what the accomplishments are. They, in every way, and we can see that in the workforce, Black women are being devalued. I mean, what, 300,000 Black women lost their jobs in with the government. But
mhm,
if you look outside of the government, where the private industries are trying to please Trump,
mhm,
they're also firing them. Joy Reid was at MSNBC, and
yeah,
she was fired. But even before Joy Reid, you remember Melissa Harris
right,
Perry,
yeah,
and they're looking for reasons, and that is free speech, what they are saying, to get rid of quite a few Black folks. And I think we
mhm.
just need to pay attention to that, and we need to be ready to address it. I don't have the answer as to how it's being addressed, but I'm asking Black folks, pay attention and be ready. Just be ready.
So how does that look? How do we move forward? Because honestly, the time we are in, it's feeling scary, uncertain. Education, our voting rights, economic power is all under fire. So how does that look?
It kind of looks like it always has. We double down on what we've always done. We, again, when obstacles are in our way, we rise. We just do. So if we look at education, we protecting access through the HBCUs, which, by the way, may see reductions in funding. They may pull the funding from HBCUs because of their focus on race, and they've got to prove now that they don't focus on race. Now we know white people, all kinds of people go to HBCUs, but not at the numbers Black students do. So there is going to, I think, be an attack on our HBCUs. We need to pay attention, and we need to make sure that we are fighting that fight. Same thing with scholarships that are looking for young Black students who need that money. Depending on what that application is saying, that's going to be under fire, and lawsuits will be lodged as a result of that. So it's our community pipelines. We need to strengthen those as well. And we have them in place, is all I'm saying. We just have to make sure that they are sturdy, and that we're all supporting them, and that we are ready to put up the fight when it's time. But now we're looking at economics. We need to be intentional about supporting Black-owned businesses and cooperative ventures. And what Candy Lowe does, the Black Business Buzz Tour, and it
Mhm,
probably extends to other cities as well. I think Black people need to be very intentional this year. This year, right now, Christmas is just around the corner.
mhm.
I'm looking for shops where, if I'm going to spend money, I'm either not going to spend any money, or when I do spend money for people, it will be from a Black business, whether I have to order that. And you can start doing that right now.
Sure.
Don't make Walmart and Target and Sam's and BJ's your fallback. Go to them for things that you need that Black community isn't supplying. But Christmas gifts, come on, y'all. There's a whole lot of folks out there that we need to just begin paying attention to our economic power. Walmart, not Walmart, but Walmart too. But Target is really struggling right now.
And you know something? It's the strangest thing. So I've never was a Walmart girl. So I used to love Target. I would go to Target once a week. Same thing with Sam's. And when I got the call, and look, and this is where community care comes in, our community, because when I got the call that we needed to boycott these places, it was an inconvenience. Yes,
Yeah, it
because
really is.
Sam's is right here. I ever since Sam's has been out here in Wesley Chapel, I go there to get my gas because it's just cheaper. I just go there and get my gas once a week. And so when they said that we needed to boycott, I said, "Oh my God, I don't."
I
It's
know.
like, I hate change. But BJ's, when I get off the interstate, I have to go bike up into Tampa Palms, and so I just said, "Okay, I'm just going to have to make a little small inconvenient here and go there." And the funniest thing, so I go to BJ's before I tell Sam's I'm not going to continue with them anymore. And I asked the lady, I go to the front desk and tell them that I wanted just a pass. And I told them why I was there, why I was might be switching because we were boycotting. They hadn't even heard about it. And so she gave me a day pass. And so when I came back up, because I didn't buy anything at that time. I just walked around to familiar yourself and see, because I get the same thing every time I go, no matter what, to see if they had what I wanted and at the prices that I'm willing to pay. And everything was good. And I told her yes. But that woman convinced me that day. She says, "Well, we could give you this for $25. And plus they gave me another 25. And I was like, well, okay. And so
Sold.
I was sold. And I go to Sam's and I tell them that I want to cancel because I had just renewed my membership and I wanted my money back. And I told them why, but they didn't want to give me back my money. And I just said, okay. I just left it at that, but I didn't renew it. And the community, we have to come together for any of this stuff to work.
Absolutely.
What I do
That's the point.
what I do know, when these white people, whether they knew who Charlie Kirk was or not, and I'm gonna go with local, when these people, whoever the powers to be, told these
Keep talking, okay?
to stand down, they stood down. When they say we're gonna support this guy, even though they all know that he said nothing but spewed hate, where was the love? Where was Christianity in any of that? Now, it might have been for them, but we know how that looked for our community. But they stuck together. And that's where I think we have an issue with that, you know? So I was going to plug when you said something about the Black business. Look, guys, we haven't done a Christmas bus tour, and I think maybe a year or two, could be longer. But this year, you got to get your tickets early.
I thought I saw a flyer.
Liberty, yes, I do post it on my page, but it's December the 13th.
Yeah,
And
I saw
remember
that.
the last one we did, we had so much fun because we say buy Black, rep it Black. And
Yeah, I remember that.
we help support business, local business. And not only that, because I think, I'm not sure where we're going to be staging, but wherever we stage at, you know, it is still Black-owned business who don't have a brick and mortar. So they're able to set up there. So we can kind of pour love into them. And look, these people make enough money to survive for not 1 month, sometimes 2 to 3 months.
That's great.
In that one day.
So the Target and Walmart, they rely on the Christmas holidays because they may do really bad during the year.
Yes.
but they know they can recoup their
Black
money,
Friday, on Black Friday, we just go
and they
crazy.
and that's why it's Black Friday, because they can go into the black. They're red.
Yeah.
They can go into the black on Black Friday and going forward. If we stay steady and we take money from them and give it to small businesses, Black businesses in particular,
Mhm.
we are revolutionizing what it means to shop in
Yeah.
America going forward.
And
So,
look,
I think that has to happen. I mean, if you want to know what we could do going forward, Black women, you need to talk to your family and your friends. You need to start rallying them together, because that's really what it's going to take to buy Black, to pay attention to what's going on with our HBCUs, and to make sure that people are registered to vote, because politically, we're voting in the 90 plus range. But we're not asking for tangible benefits in return.
yes.
And we have to figure out how to do that better, where we're asking for specific demands for the 90% plus voting that we will do. We
Mhm.
can't assume that they're going to take care of the Black community. And we see that already with a lot of our friends who, based on maybe what you have said, are making decisions about whether they're going to support you or not.
Yeah. You know, it's and it's sad. I think, listen, we basically, my brother said, I have to give us as a race, as a group, some grace, right? Because we're very new at this voting and requesting. These people have been doing it. We just start voting in the 60s. And we have to figure out our leaders now, because they know how. We have to understand the playbook. And we've seen the playbook, their playbook, and
Yeah.
how they like to pit us against each other.
Mhm.
So that's going to be our main thing, is making sure we get politicians who can't be bought. I can say it as easily
Ooh,
as
say it one more time, one more again.
that can't be bought. Politicians who care more about the community than individual. Because we could see, let's just look at District 5, East Tampa, Progress Village, Cepha Springs, those areas where our leaders, I'm not saying that they got bought or anything, but they didn't, I don't know if they wasn't, and I don't want to say they wasn't qualified. I don't know all I know, it wasn't working. But moving forward, we see what wasn't working, and we see how we need to now move forward. We can't simply just be voting, because we like someone, because they go to church with us.
Yeah.
Are they not Divine Nine? You know, now up until Trump came in office,
Mhm.
maybe not even Trump, because I believe during the when the Tea Parties came along, the Republican parties started sometime getting unfringed Republicans in office too. But
Mhm.
generally, they would get them out the next election.
Yeah.
If we look back in the 90s and the early 2000s, when they saw those people couldn't really do what needed to be done or hold the line, they primaried them. We do not. We'll let someone sit in office. We'll let people stay on the school board year after year after year, and all of our inner city schools are either D's or F's.
That's
And
correct.
that's now they'll say on paper that they are C's and D's. But when you got 40-50% of those children
Not
reading at 3 or below,
at, I would say 1 and 2. If there's a whole lot of them that are ones, and that
Mhm.
really is unacceptable.
and that's unacceptable. That's a problem. And
Right.
this is why by the time they get to high school, these people know that, the system knows that, And by the time they get to high school, and by the time they get in 10th grade, they already know they're not going to be on par to graduate. And that's
Right.
why we have the dropout rate. That's why you have so many certificates of attendance or completion of however that is.
Right.
And even for our educators to allow that.
Yeah.
Because I know Gwen, or I'm not sure who did it, but they were saying that it changed just overnight. Less
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
stop getting that. And I just call it bullshit because they're not preparing our kids, you know?
They're not preparing our kids, but we're not preparing our kids either.
Right,
And
right.
I think that you know that we have too many ones and twos in the East Tampa and Sulphur Spring areas,
Yeah.
but most people are not paying attention and don't really want to know. My kids are doing fine. I do this with my kids, but your
Mhm.
kids are interacting with a whole lot of kids that are not doing
That's
fine.
not. And
And so we have to, as I said before, we have to be very intentional about what we're doing from an education standpoint, what we're doing from an economic standpoint, and what we're doing from a political standpoint. Those are three areas that I think, and I really would, I want to speak to Black women, get your families in order around those three issues. Education, not everybody has to go to college. We get that, but get them where they are performing well from K through 12. If they're not, find the help within the community. It is available, it is there, but do not let your children keep moving forward. There's one little boy that I work with. He was held back. The school was promoting him, but the district said, oh no, he can't go. So we're going to focus on him this year.
And look,
We're going to focus on him and his parent to make sure that boy is able to rise. Another boy, third grader, that did not pass that we work with. So I talked to the parents. We're going to focus on him as well to get him moving. We're going to get him caught up, but we're going to make sure that we're assessing his ability to do the work that he's being asked to do. So,
and
the
look,
community has to be intentional.
it might not be a bad thing to hold them back.
That's
Right.
true.
And because when he do, and you will be able to know, I remember I used to take tours of the school when I think Trish McMahon is her name. And she
I
took me
remember
to,
her.
and she took me to James. And I could see in their eyes, and she was saying, see, these kids, I could look in these kids' eyes and know that they
Yep.
didn't know, that they really didn't understand. It was a performance. And I'm like, yes, and you could tell when the kid really knows something, when they really confident and when they really happy. You could see that in their eyes too,
Right.
right? And I'm like, and you're the educator. I asked her, and I like to believe that she was coming from a good place.
Mhm.
In the back of my head, I'd never believed that.
I know, but I'm going to use you as an example and you and Riley as an example of what I see the community should be doing. And that starts with you, maybe the parent, but if you're a parent that can't be a Mona, then there are community members that can be a Mona and figure out how they can help schools. But you don't just go in 1 year and you're gone. We have to figure out how to embrace these schools as pillars in
Mhm.
our community, as magnets for our community, because those A schools are magnets for
Yes.
families that are moving into Tampa. Those A schools are magnets for them to bring in families that they know will contribute to their community. That does not happen in communities like Sulphur Springs and East Tampa. And when gentrification is occurring, and it is, those families are either without children or they ship their children out somewhere else to high performing schools. I've looked at the data and
To
compared.
either charter schools, private schools, or either choice. But let me tell you,
Choice them out. That's true.
with me, So it was a little different, right? Because I had my baby when I was 35. So I was well settled, but I had a whole community who helped me. I had really a whole village. I remember when my daughter was in middle school, and they said that they will always give a parent of the year, right?
Mhm.
And so that year, they said, we're not going to do parent of the year. We're going to do a family of the year because they asked for people to sign up for to help the children for breakfast, lunch, and dismissal. And so not only did I sign up, my sister signed up, her father signed up,
Oh
my
my
mother
God.
signed up.
What
And we did that for 4 years straight.
that's very un-black of you.
And then my mother, when my daughter had moved on, went to high school, she stayed there for another 4 years.
Hmm.
hmm
That's
And
what I'm talking about.
and
But
and and in the schools, because too, and I have to say this to people, it's how I met Mike Schroras. You know who he is?
mhm,
Okay. So he's running for he was on city council, and I think he's running for city council again. I'm not sure.
uh-huh.
But I met them when my daughter was at
McFarland.
Mike Farland Park.
I was gonna say I know him, and I know
It
that
was
must
it
be
was an
McFarland.
awful, awful, awful. At first, it was good. It was the first year it was coming out, and they was running the school mostly. Him and his wife, and um, some other parents, and they ran that school like a private school. In my opinion, and the people, and there wasn't that many blacks at the school that year because it was the
Mhm,
first year of the IB program. It
mhm.
wasn't a school that was even on my radar. It wasn't a school I was looking for, but she got picked to go there. It was almost 40 minutes
Yeah, that's pretty
longer,
far.
40 minutes longer drive than what I was driving.
I
40
know.
more
I was
minutes.
like, I don't even know why you were over there, but
Right,
okay.
because I had her at a Philip Shore because we like the arts, and she was doing well there. And that's when I learned about these schools. Some schools are very conservative, some are liberal, and so on. Now, I didn't really have an issue with the school. Of course, she cap up. She was a straight A student, very, very smart. But the people and the teachers and the tension and the fight to like we had to like we didn't belong there.
Wow.
Yes. And I don't think at that time, and I'm gonna get into that when he started running, that he knew that he wanted to run, but they weren't good people. They just weren't good. That's what made me realize in third grade that I was gonna really. I remember talking to her dad and say, "I can't do this. I'm not gonna do it." And it really, I didn't have to pull her out. I just needed to realize that wasn't the right school for her. I should have found a different, but I just end up sending her to private school. I was, and do you know, from the time I sent her to private school till she graduated, we didn't have one issue. My kid didn't have any issue because I'm gonna see you. I was sending you a kid that was happy and well behaved. And God damn it, when I pick her up, she better be happy. Not when I pick her up, she's just crying, she's frustrated. These teachers agonize our children, and I saw that firsthand. That's
Wow.
that's how I met Doretha. That's how I really met Jeb Bush because I went to sue him. Is how I met the superintendent because the the corruption, the amount of stuff that was going on at that
Wow.
school, that they wanted a white private school.
Wow.
That and I'm telling you, and when I speak, I tell you from stuff I know and I have experienced.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was other families there. I don't know if they ever say anything, but we used to get together, we used to say it, but it is sometimes, and I guess I'm trying to understand that because wherever they at, political or career wise, they can't speak ill against these things.
yeah.
Even like when we hear this, I was asking my brother this as well, and I'm getting off topics, but I'm gonna say this. Chickens coming home to roost.
Ooh, you said it.
That is something in the Black community we have said, I have heard
No
my
folks scared to say it
my
now.
entire life, whether it was said to Black people or white people. All of a sudden, it's offensive. And I asked my brother, I said, well, is that phrase offensive? Because he was here this weekend, right? And he told me no. And I had to tell him what happened, and that
Context.
he couldn't believe it.
He needs to know the context. The context
Yeah,
was
I
in
told him the
reference.
context and everything, and still he says no.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. I was like, what are you talking about? And and I had to write that on Facebook, like, you Negroes know all of us have used that. And if you haven't, your parents, your grandparents have.
It's not so much about the word or the words in this case, or even the word karma or any of that. It's the context, and it is what the folks that are up in arms about it, what is it they're trying to hide? That
Right.
they are so hyper vigilant about one individual, so that when you say something that is pretty much a part of our everyday language, suddenly you
Part of
are
our culture.
fired, dismissed, um, for saying things that you would have said about anybody else.
Anybody.
So we're focusing way too much on, oh man, Jimmy Kimmel, whatever. But the question is, why is all of a sudden Jimmy Kimmel being let go at ABC? And why is it that whoever is being let go or being ostracized or suspended or whatever the issue is? Why is that? And if we do not begin questioning everything and not focusing on what they want us to focus on, because I could focus on that, but there's a reason why this very ordinary statement or word or whatever is being demonized in such a way that people are losing their livelihood.
And white people have lost their freaking mind or made up to be.
Well, why?
That really because right. To
That's
me,
the question.
I don't know why, but it has showed me, and you only have to show me once. I'm getting too old. I'll be 62 next week. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this BS anymore. I am really, really believing when you show me, who you are. And what my grandmother used to say all the time, because my grandmother, as I had a lot of help, my mother had a lot of help too. When you work for yourself and you do hair, you have to have help with the kids, right? So my grandmother used to come over every Wednesday and cook for us, right? And so, of course, we would be sitting around talking, and we could be talking about anything. I could be talking about what's going on in school, and she would drop a little gems. And I remember her saying one time, honey, a snake will always be a snake. And snakes bite. Okay? A snake gonna bite you. And I'm coming to that realization that, these whoever showed me who they are, God damn it,
Believe
I'm
it.
gonna believe you because I ain't gonna let you bite me.
Yeah, believe it.
Through all
Yeah.
this, we got to start prioritizing our own well-being.
Yes.
Our well-being. We got to care about us, our community.
Yes.
Because that is, I like to think, and I don't like to think, I know, and I don't care that I am pro-Black. I care about our community, our people.
If
And
you're not, if we don't care about ourselves, and if we are not pro-Black, and don't let people attack that, because it doesn't mean that we don't appreciate other races. But what it means is that the care that we need is going to be extremely important in coming months, perhaps years. So we've got to be able to shift that narrative. The problem isn't Black women, and our Black men need to be able to say that as well. The problem is not Black women. It's a narrative that was created and put on us to keep us down because we trace all the way back to mitochondrial Eve, and our DNA runs through everybody. Black, that African woman, her DNA runs through everyone. So the problem is America's refusal to embrace the leadership of the very people who have been instrumental in helping to save democracy time and time again.
Sure. Look, and as we see, the so-called Black women's problem is really Americans' problem.
Mm-hmm.
We're facing truth with power, and that is how we're going to have to move forward.
Yeah,
You know?
I truly believe that. So I just think that everybody has to step up. Everybody has to support, and everybody has to learn. We talked about mitochondrial Eve. Everybody has to learn that we have been given a lot of information about who we are that has not been true. And don't be afraid to share it with your white friends. It's important that we do. And I'm seeing more and more white content creators sharing this kind of information about mitochondrial Eve, about Black women. But we have to stop being afraid, because the future doesn't move without Black women leading it. That I truly believe that. It doesn't move. When I go all the way back to Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth and Michelle Obama and Letitia James, they cannot do it by themselves. Women cannot do it by ourselves. You know, I really want us to do a men's segment as well, Black man segment.
Well, so Jarvis, we have to have a guy on. What I guess we could tell men how they could support us, how we can support
We
them,
can. So you did
and how
mention,
we can support them.
Yeah. We can do that.
Maybe
So maybe we can do that with men on. Well, maybe we can do that with maybe Daryl or Jarvis, and just have a group of men that are coming to tell us that.
Yes,
how we can better support them. I like that.
Because I like what Jarvis is doing, barbershop mental health, because I realize
Love the barbershop.
with my nephews, or even my brother, the amount of pressure and stress that, my dad died when we was young, and he has always been there for my mother, us. And I think the amount of stress and pressure that he has to be under.
Yeah.
Who's there out of my uncles? He had a great relationship with my mom, two oldest brothers. So
right.
And but yeah, we're gonna have to really get back to community, family, and some kind of way. It seems like we've moved into individual. I can remember people often ask me, my brother could call me and say, hey, one of my frat brothers has a daughter that needs to stay with you for 3 months till she get on her job, save up her money, get a thing. And I've always said yes. We've had multiple people come through because we have always helped. When my brother went off to college, my mother found people who she knew in those places, who looked out for him, who helped him. When he went to Michigan, he stayed with the community that she knew for 3 months. And that's all. That's what we did. We're not doing it anymore. And we're so, like, and people will say, do you make them pay anything? No, I'm giving them a hand up.
Yeah.
No, because I got to pay the bills anyway. So what am I going to ask them to do? They need to stay here for 3 months, get their funds together, and they move on. Sometimes it might be 6 months, But whatever. If you got the room, I don't know what the big deal is. But we
Yeah.
got to get back there. But family, listen, we're getting ready to October, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And we're going to have some real talks with our young kids. We don't need to be buying, I don't know
Yeah.
how much iPhones cost, what
Yeah.
these kids want. We need to be trying to redirect the value of a dollar to our children. Do you know I didn't buy my daughter a phone till she started driving?
Yeah. That's
I
yeah.
took her to school. Her dad kept saying, "Oh, she wants a phone." I said, "Yeah, it's gonna be too much of a problem. It's not gonna like." In time, she got it. First thing she did, selfies, selfies. It used to get on my freaking nerves. I couldn't take it, right? But when we came home, like Raleigh, hey, put the phone down, do your homework, do whatever. But by the time she got the phone in 11th grade, she was well self-trained. But still, I know kids as young as third grade got phones. That to me, that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
Who are you gonna call? What? They say they send it to them in school. Um, she's always gone to schools where you couldn't even take a phone into the classroom.
Yeah. That was then. Now there are laws on the books because it got so out of hand. There's laws on the books here in the state of Florida where you can't. So kids
Oh, well, that's good.
yeah,
No,
the kids cannot take their phones out at all. It is it's a really bad thing. So I don't see phones when I go through there anymore, like I saw last year. This year, phones are out. So DeSantis put that law in the books, and it seems to be working out. They can only pull out phones when the teacher directs them to, and that's really high school, maybe middle school, high school.
so
But
why would the teacher
there
why,
is no reason for it in elementary.
why would the teacher ask them to pull out a phone?
Oh, because phones are, I do a lot of research on my phones. I do. The phone is also the phone. There will be times where a teacher will say, pull out your phone and look up this or that. And it's
So they
better.
don't have laptops or iPads.
It just depends, but teachers can direct that for whatever.
Everybody should have iPads or a laptop in the classrooms. Don't everybody have that?
In elementary, they're not assigned to you. You can go and get one, and I don't know if it's enough for everybody. I really don't know.
Okay.
So stop getting us way off track.
Yeah, I know that we had to always have
everything that we talk about, though, and this is why I don't have a problem with it, because everything we talk about is demanding that women, especially now, we have to pay attention and we have to move different. And different is in 3 categories. Let's pay attention to what's going on in education because our kids are going to need to be educated. Let's pay attention to what is going on from an economic standpoint. Are you shopping? Shop with intentionality, and you could actually build Black businesses this Christmas. Like you said, that will last them 2 to 3 months. And for all you know, you continue working with them or buying from them. Let's change. Let's move different is all I'm saying. And the last one is that 92% vote that we put out there needs to come back with some tangible.
tangible. Yeah.
Right. And so all we're saying is I've moved to independent, which makes me #Black independent. And we need to figure out better how we can have leverage when we're asking.
Can you see that?
Yeah, I can. I see Black. I don't see independent though. Yeah, very nice. And those shirts are available on Facebook. So feel free to order a shirt. We also have the mugs. I've been drinking from my mug tonight.
Me too.
And we'll likely have more products the more we get to join our YouTube page. So Mona, great conversation tonight. Thank you so much.
Great conversation tonight. Jeanette, I just want to remind the audience again to really consider I think if we move from the Democratic Party as a whole, not to say that we're going to be voting for the right, because we're not, but we could, if we're independents, and
The
we could
voice.
start here local, and say we got 5,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever's running for mayor, whoever we want to get behind, and we say these 5,000 votes, but here's the 4 things or 3 things we want. These are the 3 things we absolutely have to have in the first 3 years. Might have 5 things that we want, but these 3 things, and if you don't, we cannot support you moving forward.
Right.
That's what every other group do.
That's what they do.
That's what every other group do.
Right.
And these groups don't have to go down because our politicians tell us we got to come down there and fight with them at city council. I don't hardly ever see any other group come down to do anything.
Right. Because
They
they've
come
already
down-
they've already shown this is
They've
our
already-
leverage.
Yes. Now they might come down when something isn't going their way, but we have to fight for every damn thing.
Right.
We have to fight. I mean, this
Gotta
budget,
look
I just looked at the budget, and I think the total budget is $1.9 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet 10% isn't going to District 5.
Yeah.
That's got to be the first thing. I don't care who the mayor is. I asked ChatGPT, and they said it would be absolutely in our rights to ask the next mayor to make sure 25% of that budget is going to District 5,
Yeah.
and that we dictate how it be spent.
Sounds reasonable, but
Sounds-
got to have leverage, got to come together. So
Gotta have
women, we need you to just talk to your families, bring them
And
together.
you could do it. We're the backbone of just about everything. Even if we just come together and do it.
Okay.
All right.
Ciao.
Great show.
You bet.